Welcome back, guys, to Karma Lately. This is episode 7, part 2 of the Bali Villa tutorial series, and I'm just showing you guys the last steps on how I created this stainless steel refrigerator using an iPhone box. So we're going to start with the wooden dowel, and it's a bamboo dowel. I painted it white, and this dowel is going to serve as your swivel function. Just made that word up. So as you can see, there's spaces there. That's corrugated. This is corrugated plastic. That's why it's Coroplast. So those spaces that you see there, I took the farthest right space on that door. I took the farthest end, and I'm inserting the dowels into the farthest end of each door to create the swivel function. As you can see, it doesn't slide down, and it's also not easy to push in. It's not too easy to push inside, making it a very stable swivel function for the door. So it's like putting a puzzle piece together. So I divided top part and the bottom part because that's how the model, the LG model that I have inspiration for doing this, that's how that refrigerator looks. So I'm just evening out all the dowel pieces. I'm going to push this one out and start the process. So I'm going to drill a hole, and it's not going to be too deep, but I am going to drill a hole deep enough to hold the wire that I'm going to insert. I'm going to put a little super glue in there, and then I'm going to screw in the wire. Now later I realize that I'm going to need a longer wire, so I'm going to do this process over later on, but I won't show you that. But at least for the purpose of you understanding how the process is done, this is see here, I cut it, but later I'm going to realize that I do need it to be long. So you live and you learn. So you're going to need 2 dowels. You make sure you do it on both sides. That's going to serve for the top hinge of the door and the bottom hinge. And so you'll need these 2 pieces. And there you have it. So I really didn't think that I was going to be using the Coroplast in this way. So it's really cool that I found this mechanism for it. Just making sure that the dowels are level and everything's cool. And here I'm going to take the right door, and I'm going to add some depth to the door, which is also going to serve to hold the top part and the bottom part together. But also where the window is, I'm going to create a shelf, a very small shelf. And so this adds a little depth so that it can hold small things on the window there. I'm just going to make sure everything fits. And before you do anything and secure anything, you want to make sure that it's all fitting in properly. And here I realized that I put the dowel on the wrong side, but luckily I'd marked it. It says TF, and that's for top front. And so I just easily slid it down. And see, as you can see, since it's painted white, you can't even tell that it's there. So here's the back part for the ice box. I kind of switch from doing one thing to the next, and it keeps my mind active and keeps me interested. So here I switch over to doing the hinges, and I made the hinge from foam, and I just made 2 small holes, and we're going to insert the beads into the holes, and I'll show you how I did that. And there you have it. So we're going to use the wire. Like I said, I'll be needing a longer wire, but we'll get to that later. But at least for measuring where I'm going to put the hole in the top of the fridge, I did my measuring. Now I switched to the ice box, and what you see underneath the foam there is I took the super glue plastic, and I inserted pieces of corrugated plastic in there and made little designs. And now I'm going to take this foam and I'm going to hide the corners of the plastic, and then I'm going to glue it. I hot glued it, and then I put one more piece of Coroplast, a tiny piece on top, and that's going to serve as the topper for our ice box. And remember those the plastic for the souvenir boxes? Well, I cut a tiny piece. I made some creases, added a little foam strip on the top, and I made a shelf. And since the shelf is open on the sides, so things can fall out on the side, I'm just going to fold these long rectangles, and I'm going to fold the sides so that now nothing can come out on the side of each shelf. I'm going to do the same thing for the right side, and I liked this piece because it already came with a cool design. I'm just going to make it narrower and shorter off the top. Now it already comes with a crease, which is great, but I need 2 creases. So I'm going to fold another crease right about 1/4 of an inch or a little less than that across from this crease, and then flip it back and fold the original crease. And now I see my shelf. Now I'm just going to cut it down to size because it's a little too tall and I want to add other shelves. So we're going to cut it, but it still has its personality there. And we're going to do the same thing we did for the other one and create the side piece for protecting your groceries so they don't come out on the side. So there it is. I just took a long rectangular strip, thin enough, and glued it on there. And I used crazy glue for those because I didn't want to use any hot glue since those are delicate pieces. Here I'm taking the foam and I'm just cleaning up the depth here in the window to make for a nice clean shelf. I've cut all my shelves and I've added them on here to the right door. And so we have 3 shelves on the bottom. I made them smaller actually because I realized that needed to happen. You can open the door from the outside and from without opening the fridge, and from the inside once the fridge is open. I need another hinge for my freezer door, and so I've got 2 more beads, and I made another little rectangular hinge from the foam. And the way I did the other one and the way I did this one, all I did was get my pin vise and I drilled in 2 holes, and I made sure that they were small enough so that I could push the bead through. You don't want to make them too big. You want the bead to be in there nice and snug. And now with the Cheesecake Factory plastic, I cut all my shelves, and see how much character those shelves have? And that was all from the Cheesecake Factory. The drawers are made from the extra plastic cases that I had recycled, and painted some of these white like you saw in part 1. That one needed a little more cutting, which I did later on, but you guys don't get to see that, to make it nice and square and even. And that's that. The 2 top shelves I did not glue. The others are glued down, but I didn't glue the top ones because say you decide maybe one of your dolls brings another one of your dolls a tall glass of wine, and you want to put it in the refrigerator, or you want to put it in the freezer, but there's no space to lie it down, you want to have it standing up. You have that option by removing the top shelf and being able to store taller things in there. So here are the holes that I poked in from measuring the hinge. I poked a hole on both the top sections, and I also ended up cutting that top layer of the Coroplast just to make room for the holes, and on the bottom of the fridge. And now you can see why I needed a longer wire. It's because I'm gonna take that wire, take one side, and then I'm going to insert it into the other side. Now guys, I really didn't get any help from anywhere to do this, although miniaturists tend to have similar mechanisms for different things. But I really just sat one day looking at the picture of the LG refrigerator and looking at mine, and I just stared at it. And I came up with this, and I didn't want to buy hinges. I kind of wanted to use, when I do recycle projects, I want to use what I have here in the house. And so this is how it turns out. So I inserted it into the hole. I'm cutting the wire, and I don't want to cut the wire too small. So I'm just going to fold it and tuck it in because I want it to be secure. So I'm going to take my pin vise again, and I'm going to use it to insert it into this little crease that I found right here, and it's going to be nice and snug. Now, all the blue wire that you see there will later on be painted white. In retrospect, next time I'll paint the wire white first, and then I will insert it. And so I'm doing the same thing for the right side, and making sure it's nice and snug and ready to go. So here we have it. And here you can see the plastic. You can open the fridge from the front without actually opening the entire refrigerator. So I added a little foam piece to that. And on top of that, here we go back to the folder. I put all the folder pieces that I cut in part one, and put them on the fridge, and I'm gonna paint them silver. Now we're gonna go to the icebox. I cut off this part of the charger, the part you insert into the phone, and the earbud. I hot glued it onto the top of there, but I did not press all the way down because I wanted it to have a similar character to the LG that I'm getting inspiration from. I put in a little small strip of folder to the background of it because I like that texture and I want to paint that texture silver. This is how it turned out. Not too bad, not perfect, but not too bad. The handles are made from the folder material. I just cut them, cut these strips and glued them with the super glue. So there you can see I left a little black window, and this is what the original looks like, and this is what mine looks like, and I'm pleased with it. Show me how you guys would do it. I'm sure there are better ways and better materials. Like I said, I was really trying to use what I had here in the home for the purpose of the recycle project, but I'd love to see, I'm fascinated with these fridges, and I'd love to see what you guys come up with. So thank you so much for watching. I look forward to sharing more ideas and videos with you guys. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.